Today we're chatting with Mark Kep, owner of CampgroundViews.com, and we're going to get some questions answered for you.
Okay, my name is Mark Kep. The company's CampgroundViews.com. For 12 years, my wife and I were full-time RVers, lived on the road, traveling this entire country, and discovered that the biggest problem campers face is actually finding the right campsite. And so we've spent our entire time trying to help solve that. And we think we've got a really good tool to help do that, which are these campground virtual tours that we recently launched.
Excellent. That actually, can you describe how Campground Views is set up to help the consumer?
Yeah. So as campers, we all have the same kind of problem. And it's that we are all different. Everybody's camper and RV is uniquely different. The stuff we pull out of the camper when we're at a campsite, different. And so it doesn't lend itself to these hotel reservation systems. It lends itself to a visual experience. Everybody wants to drive to that campground, see the roads, see the sights. And so that's the tool we built. It's like Google Street View, only using video. So it's a little bit better. You can actually hit play and go through a campground as if you're driving through it, look at the campsites, see what they look like. And the real kicker is that on the campsites, there's these little icons. You can click on those icons and get more information about that campsite and then actually click to book it. So imagine driving through a campground and being able to click on that campsite you're looking at and book it. That's the tool we built.
Yeah, that's a feature that we were looking at. We were like, this is awesome, because for me personally, I'm usually the one making all of our reservations, but I'm not the one driving the RV. And I don't know how to back it in. I should learn, but I don't know how to back it in. So if I could pull it up, which I've done, if I can pull it up on Campground Views and I can say, hey, Stuart, will you be able to, I really like the view you get in this particular spot. Can you get in there? Because we've had some trouble in the past.
Yeah. Our last rig was a 40-foot travel trailer. So it was long, to say the least. Well,
and luckily he's really good at maneuvering, but a regular consumer, it might say like, oh, sure. Yeah, you can fit your 40-foot rig there, but they don't calculate the hairpin turn you have to get it in there. So
there is this giant hurdle between a campground and people who've never camped. And it's that information right there, because somebody who's never camped, they don't even know where to go. And all the sources, if you go online and search for a campground or RV park, this inherently, you might find the 3 or 4 really popular places. There's a lot of information out there, but all the other ones, there's no information at all. And so you're just guessing. Imagine these people who are new into the industry or even just considering camping. There's no data that's going to help them make a decision. And it's just easier to stay in a hotel or an Airbnb versus actually going out and camping. And as you know, and your viewers know, camping's amazing. Get outdoors, go enjoy it. So our whole goal is to get more people outdoors by showing them this information.
Yes. What gave you the itch to create this database and this website?
There's actually a long story behind it. I don't think it'd be appropriate to dive into it, but we, in a nutshell, we were, this was early on in our travels. We were about 2 years into full time. It was just my wife and I at that time. And we went to go to this campground in Louisiana. We wanted to camp near New Orleans. And at the time we were using all of the RV review sites that are out there. And there was this campground, it was brand new and all the reviews were 1 star on it. And yet I'm looking at their website going, it sounds nice. It wasn't meshing. And so we figured we're going to ignore the reviews, and we showed up and it was one of the most amazing places we stayed at. And we got to talking to the owner. It turned out all of the competitors were writing negative reviews about him because he was such a nice park. And that was kind of the catalyst where I said, I'm done. I'm done with the reviews. Let's help people see the parks. And so it started.
Yeah.
It started out as just a hobby, let's get this directory going and start building it. And then it was about 6 months later, we got a call from a campground owner and he's like, who are you and why did you film our campground? I was like, what do you mean? Why do we film your campground? We didn't film it. Some other campers did and gave us the footage. And I'm like, is there a problem? Okay. I said, is there a problem? And he's like, well, no, there's actually not a problem. I'm just really busy. And all these people are saying it's because of this video. And I was like, interesting. I said, hey, would you pay for that video production? He's like, yeah, if it was better than what you gave me. So that was what started out the real business at Campground Views. And it was through that journey, we were doing these marketing videos that we started getting into the 360 videos. And we launched a few 360 videos, and people can go on to our YouTube channel and see those 360 videos. I don't encourage it because they're really bad. And you're going to go, this is horrible. I can't see anything. I don't know what I'm looking at. Well, those comments came into us. I don't know what the sites are. Is there any way to do that? And that was what created what we have now at campgroundviews.com.
Okay. Awesome.
That's cool.
That is cool. I love stories like that. We got that one answered already. Okay. Do you see an app in your future?
So the website itself is already mobile responsive, so it'll work on a mobile phone. When you're looking at the website right now, there's actually two things going on. There's a website, which is, a directory. And then there's this tool that we've added into it, these virtual tours. So when somebody's using it on a mobile phone, I encourage them to click the full screen and look at it like a Netflix video. So turn their phone sideways and use it on their phone. It's completely responsive. We did that on purpose. Apps are actually very expensive to create, very expensive to maintain. And whenever the iOS or whatever updates, you have to keep that app up to date. So we've gone this route because we were trying to spend our money on content creation, capturing these parks versus building an app and doing that. It's not saying an app's out of the question, but right now the website works on 99% of all the devices that are out there.
Okay, awesome. It was a comment on one of the things that I had shared. Do you see having at least like 80 to 90% of the campgrounds that you have on your website actually having those virtual tours rolled out?
So there's 18,000 campgrounds that would fall underneath this umbrella of parks that you can stay at overnight. So 18,000. When we break those down, 9,000 are public parks, 9,000 are private parks. The private parks, we're going to need permission to go into those. And we've actually started that process. So we've got a number of private parks coming online right now. The public parks are a different beast. So we've already captured 890, almost 900 recreation.gov properties. Those are the federal parks, so Forest Service, National Park, those type of campgrounds. We did those first because there's one reservation engine. It's got a wide basis. A lot of people can use that for value. The next thing we're focusing on are state parks. So state parks, there's about 2,900 of those in the United States. And so we're working on getting those online right now. We finished capturing a lot of the larger states and we're working on bringing those online. So it's just an incremental process. And as part of that, what we've got going right now is different membership types that we brought back and discounted them so people can join. They might think, hey, this is really cool, but I just want to support it. I'm not going to use it. Well, they can join as a lifetime member and then they get to benefit as we build this up.
Okay, excellent. Well, but I feel like even like the national parks, like you can find more information, potentially more reliable information, but like it's the state parks that those virtual tours really come in handy with. And so that's my personal opinion.
Well, it depends. It depends on the type of equipment you use. So if you're an RVer, you stay at more state parks than you do Forest Service parks. And that's because usually you can't fit, right? There's size limitations and everything else. And so that's been kind of the intriguing thing through this process is we've filmed a lot of campgrounds that are on the recreation.gov system. And if you go to the recreation.gov system, it says, 25-foot maximum in this campground. Yet our video shows you can fit a 40-foot rig in there, no problem. That's the difference, is because this data is not available. But to your point, yes, state parks, especially like there's certain state park systems that are amazing, right? They've redone all their campgrounds, really easy for RVers to get into. And then there's other systems where they just haven't invested that money and you just don't know. So it's kind of a cat and mouse thing. So what we've created is the technology platform. We've proven it with the recreation.gov property, and now we're scaling it up to get the state parks and the private parks on board. So, we're really talking at the beginning stages of this process. And so really it's something that I'd encourage campers to take a look at it. Just know that we've got this. And if they really like it, then join, support us. That money goes straight into helping us produce more content. And that's how we succeed at this.
Yeah, no, we love that. So the memberships you have, can we dive into an explanation of the memberships and why somebody would really want to join?
Yep. So the first reason you want to join is that's how you get access to the actual tours. So the way we make money, it's a big question, how you make money with this thing. We're not a not-for-profit. So we had a few choices. We could try to charge everybody a percentage of the booking or a booking fee. Everybody hates those, right? I'm a camper. I don't like them. So everybody else probably doesn't like them either. So we figured, hey, let's just...
It's like getting charged for shipping. You just don't want to do that anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. And so we figured, we're young enough in this where we would rather have folks join who really want to see this thing succeed, basically building a community around it of supporters. And so the membership types that you'll see on the website, there's a few of them. One of them, our cheapest one, is $6. That gets you access to the virtual tours for a week. It's really designed for the folks that are camping once or twice. They're going to plan it this week. They sign up for $6 and they can use all the virtual tours to find their campground. Super easy, straightforward. There's no recurring fees, $6. Unfortunately, it's the price of a gallon of gas, which is an unfortunate statement. But that's how much it is. The other option is a 1-year membership. That's $99. And there's coupon codes that are out there. I think we got you a coupon code, right? Okay, perfect. So you get discounts on that. The $99 gets you 1 year of access. Use it, over the course of your travels, and you'll also be involved in the email blast. So you'll get insight on where we're at, what we're doing, what's coming live, and so forth. And then the next two options are both longer term. So we have a 3-year and the lifetime membership. So the lifetime membership is $500. The discounts work on that, and they get really big when you got some discount codes on that $500. There are folks that have joined. They joined last year at that rate, and they're just ecstatic with it. I was just at an Escapades event, and the number of people that came up and said, "Hey, we're members of this thing, and this is awesome. Keep going. I just love being a member and supporting you." Those memberships, if you think this is cool, join one of those longer term ones. It's enough money that it helps us get going. Plus, it gets you involved in following along on the journey as we're bringing more and more of these tours online. The stupidest idea we had in building this whole thing was, it's going to be easy. This is simple. Starting anything from scratch is not simple, but we've got the technology in place. We've got a lot of videos that you can use right now, tours that are available right now, and we're rolling it out more and more to more places as we go along.
Yeah, we were booking in New York, a state park, and we used it, and it was awesome because I was able to even see like where we were going to, exactly the site that I wanted to be in. So
it does make the process as far as getting into a parking. I mean, I'm comfortable driving, but anytime you're not guessing is obviously just always beneficial when you're coming to the most stressful part about traveling, and that's obviously usually parking.
Yeah. What's the saying? I'm not responsible for the things I said when I was backing in the RV.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm one of those people that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm one of those people, like I don't ask for help. Like I do everything myself, and because that's more or less just a safe face. So I don't say anything mean to somebody else.
Well, our last RV was a 44-foot fifth wheel. So I was right there with you. And when you're driving something that big, you have to know I'm planning my fuel stops and where I'm taking rest stops. You don't just pull over in the dirt. You need to know what you're driving on. And so it is a stressful process. And so that's why this visual experience, we believe, is so important, is it starts taking some of that stress off. Especially, the big question in the camping world is, all these new people during COVID came into the market. And the answer is, yeah, they did, but they're all going to the same spots. If you go to the spots outside of it, it's not as overwhelming, and they're leaving too, right? They bought an RV, they did it a while, and they're leaving. And so really it's because of this information. They're all going to the same spots. It's crowded. It is what it is. And not finding some of those amazing spots. That's really what we're trying to help out with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Everybody is funneling into the same spots, but every day as the market grows, there are more and more RV parks created too, and states are investing more money in their RV parks. So,
and the federal government too. So they passed the American, not the American Recovery. They passed an act in the final term of Trump's administration in which they funded the federal parks to both update them, so make improvements where they've been lacking maintenance, and also then investing in these properties. So the big question they have right now, this is something that may be useful for you content wise, is there's actually a lot of conversation on that level about what should we do? Should we rebuild the campground? Should we make them bigger or leave them the same? And that conversation is going on right now. So it's something, from a content wise, it may be something that's interesting to your viewers.
Yeah, that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
We've answered all these questions already.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. I think a lot of it comes out naturally, when we're just having this conversation, and a lot of the questions that I had jotted down, we've already answered.
Well, here, I got something now I can add to it then. So, because one of the questions that comes up is how do these tours work? And so One of the things that people see when they load a virtual tour is it looks like a video. There's a play button at the bottom left. And I encourage everybody to hit play for the first time and just see. It looks like GoPro going through the campground. So this camera kind of starts going through the campground. And then the next step I'd encourage them to do is if they're on a phone, use their finger. If they're on a computer, use their mouse and simply point in the direction you want that camera to look. And you'll notice, just like Google Street View, the view changes. You'll look left, right, up, or down. So you're actually able to change that point of view. At that point, I encourage everybody to hit pause real fast in the video. And then up in the top right, there's a little circle up there and you're not quite sure what that is. Click on the 4 arrows and it'll open up a map. So as we're recording this footage, we're actually getting a GPS precise map of the campground. And so you'll see the exact layout, not some funny drawing that looks cartoonish, but a real map of the campground. And we're GPS marking all the sites. You'll see the exact spacing of those sites within the campground. And the next thing the user can do is they can click on any one of those icons and that video will jump to that site. So now you've got kind of the basic navigation about how to use the tour. I would then encourage somebody to go ahead and close that window real fast. And then at the bottom right of the player screen, there's a little calendar icon. It looks like just like a little calendar. If you click that, it opens up a calendar on the screen and you pick the dates that you're staying in the campground. And the icons will change from green to red. Green meaning that site's available, red meaning it's not available. That's incredible because then you can open up that overhead map. You can get an overview layout and you can see what's green, what's red, and jump to green and red sites and see exactly the site you're looking at. So you don't need to tour the whole campground. You just say, well, these 5 are available during my stay. Let me jump to this one. Okay, here's this one. And then that way you're making the right choice for you as a camper. And so that's the basics of it. There's almost 900 of those campgrounds now available for people to tour. And so that basic functionality, most people miss that calendar icon. When you add that in there with green and red, I mean, it's really, the whole goal is to make it easier for us all to find campsites that are right for us. Because what's right for you is different than what's right for me, which is different from your viewers, right? Everybody has their own opinion.
Right.
Is that we have enough videos now. And we also are now picking up enough private parks where we're not having to sell it. It's actually being sold to them. And the other thing that's happening is RVers are actually hitting them saying, where's your virtual tour? I want this. I want this. And so that's happening.
Yeah.
You get enough of it out there and people are going to want it regardless. So it's going to be turned into you have to have.
Yes.
Not just an extra.
Right. Yeah. It's going to become like,
well, it just makes sense at this point. Right. I mean, with how everything else is virtual and being able to see everything, it just makes 100% sense that you could do things that way.
Well, especially if you're towing something large behind you that many of us are actually living in, it's really valuable to know exactly what you're getting. But yeah, so what are you using? Like, what kind of,
technology?
Yeah. What kind of technology?
So we use a consumer grade cameras to capture. That's actually the easiest part, is to buy the camera. Everything else is actually highly complex. And to the patent part, we haven't filed patents, but we do have trade secrets into what we're doing. Okay. So the reason why you don't file patents is one of the things you do when you file a patent is you tell everybody what you did. And then you have to have the lawyers to defend that when somebody tries to copy.
You got to pay a whole lot of money to try to defend it.
Exactly. So that's why there's basically processes that we built to make this thing a reality that are, when you learn them, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But if you haven't done it before, it doesn't make any sense at all and you don't understand it. So there's actually a process a person needs to go through to capture the footage in the right way. And then it's uploaded into our system. And from there, our system and our staff handles all the production piece to bring it live. And then all the video players that you see, that's actually served directly from our servers. So we're acting almost as YouTube for those videos. And like over the last 30 days, those videos have been loaded almost 70,000 times. So
that's incredible.
Yeah. So people are using it and it's amazing. It was unfortunately, back to my line earlier, the idea to start something is always naive enough to think that it's easy. And what we're doing is very, very complex, very, very hard to do. But it's also very valuable. And so at the end of the day, when we get those nice comments from campers, but then on the flip side, the campground owners, when they have these tours on their sites, that's always fun because they're usually not tech savvy. They're not early adopters of technology. And so they're doubtful that this actually works. And then they put it live and the calls start coming in or the bookings start coming in. And they're like, oh my God, Mark, this is amazing. People are booking more online. They're calling me less. They're having a better time because they're not showing up, not knowing what they're getting into. They know what they're getting into. And so To your point, yes, it'll be very beneficial to every single campground that has this. And we're at that beginning stage. We need to keep going, and that's where the memberships come into play, is to make that happen.
Yeah. And so how are you finding the campgrounds, other than like obviously just searching for them, but are the campgrounds coming to you and saying, hey, we'd really like to get on your website? And then are you charging campgrounds to like kind of give them a service too?
Yeah, it varies. So obviously we have campgroundviews.com. The website itself already has almost 18,000 campgrounds that people can search. It's actually 16,000 that people can search and find. So we already have this really accurate directory of campgrounds. And so that's kind of the list we go off of a little bit. We also run some industry organizations that we connect with campground owners and operators. So we're making them aware of this. Campers, just the general public are starting to hit the campground saying, hey, you need this. Like, why haven't you created this? So we've got that. And the answer to the question of what does it cost the campgrounds? It depends. For example, the state of Arizona, their Arizona Office of Tourism just contracted with us to provide this technology for 250 parks within the state. Perfect entity that sees the value of this, right? They know campers are going to use the tool. The campground owners are going to benefit from it. And the state of Arizona, they're going to get more campers into the state of Arizona. If you know what you're getting into, you're going to travel there. And so over the course of the next year and a half, you'll see 250 of these parks in the state of Arizona get these tours. We're at about, I think, 80 or so right now. And those are free. So somebody can type in campgroundviews.com for the slashy thing, and then AOT as in Tom. So AOT, and hit enter, and you'll see a page load with all those virtual tours. Completely free to use. They're provided by the Arizona Office of Tourism. The other thing that's happening is campground owners will pay us to produce these for them. And then they pay a hosting fee, and any of those that are hosted are free to use also. And so you might start finding campgrounds that have these on their website. Tucson KOA does, Cassini Ranch in California does, Williamsburg KOA is about to have one. So these are coming online for these private parks also. And so it's just it's kind of a snowball effect. It's a process. Like building an Airstream.
No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's going to be easy.
Luckily enough, I was supposed to be done last week, so I understand.
And then my other question is, are you outsourcing you obviously have staff that travels to the campgrounds, and then are you expanding that as well?
We're always interested to talk to RVers and full-time RVers who are interested in this. And there's two opportunities in that field. One is just raw video capture. So as we ramp up the state park capture, we'll need people to do that, one. And then two, there's full-time RVers out there who don't mind doing sales and don't mind doing outreach. And we're obviously looking for independent sales reps who can help us get this in front of the 1,000 trails of the world and make them aware of this. And so that's a way that, especially for folks that are full-time or travel a lot, that they can actually make some significant revenue. Number one, providing a good service to the campgrounds. Number two, providing a good service to the campers. And as a result of being that person that's helping make that connection, making some real money.
Yeah. And campers, we love to help each other out too, and help create the community and put things out there for other people that are helpful. So I think it's great what you're doing.
Thank you.
Do you have anything to add?
I don't think so. I mean, it's definitely a sweet service. I don't like going places I don't see. So, and Google Earth does not do anywhere justice. So,
yeah, and just on a side note, the reason we're working with you is the hard thing about what we're doing, and this is actually the hardest thing, is it didn't exist before, so people aren't looking for it, right? And so, our basically our business problem is we need to make people aware that this tool exists and so that's. Just in the back of your mind, that's why we work with influencers like yourself, because, obviously people listen to you, they trust you. It allows you to introduce this technology to them to make them aware of it. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to sign up right now or it's, it's just that awareness is what creates the results. So if there's go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, they might think when they're booking for their winter reservations, oh, I remembered that I could book with having virtual tours, and that makes all the difference. It really does. Yeah. Especially when you're booking things in advance.
Yeah, and I think Trisha mentioned we're all ears. If you've got ideas on what we could do or should be doing with you to better do that, let us know. We obviously, we're excited that you're willing to do this. I mean, it's a good sign that you're willing to go outside the normal and try to do something different. So we're excited about this.
I love stuff like this personally. I don't know how you feel about it, but I love it.
It's like you can only get so many questions answered over an email and everything else. Because we had a whole bunch of questions, and we asked you one and you answered 4 of them.
Right.
So you end up getting way more information speaking with somebody kind of face to face, way more than
it seems so much more natural.
Robot style with an email. So no, it definitely gets more information, and then they also get to see your personality, which I'm one of those people that I like to see somebody's personality because I'm weird.
Well, especially when you're supporting, when you want to support somebody, you want to put a face to those people that you're supporting
that too.
That's really nice. Yeah,
having a face. And then also, a lot of people are going to love the fact that you guys full time for as long as you did and everything else. So you know the space more than 99% of the people out there. So
I've personally visited over 5,000 campgrounds and RV parks. So
incredible.
Yeah. So
been there, done that.
Well more than firsthand. You're not just trying to make a quick buck off of something that you think needs to happen.
This is definitely something that could, as it grows,
can make a lot of
what
We absolutely love chatting with Mark Kep from campgroundviews.com, and we hope that you guys check out campgroundviews.com. You can use our code to get 20% off of your membership. Happy travels!